we're just going to jump right into it here. We're going to just go piggyback off the last lesson that we did. And so we're going to go to our chart with kind of some of those things that we had talked about with decisions and automatics. So we haven't changed our chart yet. One of the main focuses that we needed to do was find this adaptation point. So we have, looks like at first, I don't believe this was a 4 hour. It is actually. Oh, okay. So this is actually a 4 hour. So we actually had exactly what we wanted to get, which is adapting our trend off this 120 bounce or 520 or 280, whatever would come through, like decision point trading versus the automatics. So we're going to look at that after, but first let's just catch up and do our first set of TA here, which again, that's that there. And then you're likely going to have, oopsies, not that one. No. We want this one here. You're likely going to have something, maybe it's a 15, I'm not sure. No, I don't even think you really have too much off of this this trend here. I think I would just be using the very interior piece of this trend. Anything you can use this, but don't like it. Yeah, I would just not use this trend at all. Okay, oh, Bitcoin's pumping right now. That's pretty cool. So let's talk about some of this stuff that we looked at. Rewind this thing back a little bit, because we would have been on 7th, right in around here is where we left off. So it would have been right in around here. So we picked our decision moments with some different levels here that we had marked down. So let's take a look at how this played out. Oh, okay. Instantly, you get that spot for 45%. It sinks 20, goes up to your 45. That's kind of perfect in terms of taking profits. Looks like there was quite a bit of a better entry. So maybe, hopefully that wasn't a case where it just knife catch straight down. No, it didn't. So that's kind of perfect. So your 45 is here. You don't quite make 45. Level collapses. You go down to your 4. You miss the reverse here. That's fine. If you took the 4, that's good for, let's say 100%. What we, same thing we kind of tried for here. Let's just keep going here. See where this thing ended up. Just hit play. Yeah, that's fine. Looks like that would have been that. Oh, it's only 85, so it's that level again. No big deal. So it looks like there would have probably been just one trade so far. Maybe a 45% there. Maybe. Let's just continue going. It hits our 120 perfectly. Let's see how that goes. We're looking for it to, come on. Looking for it to get roughly here. So let's just mark that. So yeah, roughly right here. Yeah, that's fine. We could just mark that there. That was kind of like what we were thinking for this 120. Let's see where this thing goes. I know it came pretty close. Yeah, it hit it perfectly, that 120. So that one ends up being pretty perfect. And then we just literally bounced from, oh wow, this thing is moving quick. We literally just bounced here again. Not that this would have been the trade to take, but you would have been down here, right here. So that's fine. This is not important there, but that's gone. Don't need that guy. That's gone. So that was a nice little perfect 120. So like yesterday in the charts was pretty slow, actually. Like if you measure the top to the bottom, the whole entire past, actually, what is this day? Close to 2 days. Yeah, 2 days now. We've been kind of stuck in this little spot here. So that's really nice to see that you can still make some decent profits off some of these levels that we found. It looks like there wasn't a ton of trades. Maybe there was some interior scalping stuff like this on the short side, you know, some pretty easy stuff like this guy right here. That would have been a pretty easy one to pick up on. But anyways, for assessment on the bottom, looks like everything went pretty perfectly. Like we got the 120 hit right here. The 45, that first 45 bounce was right here. Oopsies. First 45 bounce was right there. Like you go down, I think. Yeah, that's actually it right there, right? That's that first 45 bounce. Yeah, okay. So that's that first 45 right there. I think we measured from the green and not this level. So that's here. That's your first 45%. So actually this one worked out pretty perfectly. It actually went up a little bit higher, but that first 45 would have been, you know, roughly in and about there. And the whole point of that one was to just take, you know, this level here to something in and around here. Like that was kind of the whole point of that trade, which is just take a nice little scalp before this thing moves down. Now 50% goes a little higher. So that's the first one, and then it looked like it kind of just laddered all day, like it ladder, goes down to one of our next targets here, the 120. Then whether you took the 100 or the 120, I don't think it really matters. Either one, you would have been well within a reasonable amount. It's just, you know, if you're measuring from this level here, you do get that 120% right there. So that's kind of perfect. So that one worked out good. Our 45 worked out good. There was no trade to take on this 100 because, well, actually, they would have been one in the same trade. You just always go for the deeper level. Or if you would have front ran it, that's fine too. You still have, you know, everything there. The next part of this thing is that it creates our trend, which is perfect. And then you're just back at the queue again, doing your automatics and your decision points. So just quickly catching up on this thing, it looks pretty good. It looks like we got majority of this stuff right, with the exception of having that kind of intermediate bounces here and stuff like that. But other than that, like it looks really good. I don't know if we need this 4-hour level anymore. Let's take a look. Yeah, no, I don't think you need the 4-hour level. You have the daily break. You're not even really laddering 4-hour parts of the moves, which makes sense because it's too premature in the charts. I would assume here you're just laddering 15s because we did hit this 15. So like I wouldn't even use this hourly. I'd be more looking at, you know, 15s or 5s, to be honest. So you've got this 15 here, but more +1, -1 on the 5s is what I would look at. So yeah, you don't quite go as low as that, but you would never go that low. You would actually go right here. The piece that broke the move is what'll hold it up there. So that would have been a pretty straightforward trade. Except I would have just done it to there. Like I would have just gone from here to here, 62%. You know, taking more is fine. You could be still in this trade and maybe you're moving up, but you know, if I was there, I would have just done a quick little thing to here. This is a ladder point, easy trade, backside of this move on the 5. And the reason we use the 5 is for +1, -1 standards, you're going to have 2 5-minute levels that'll break this move, right? So you got a 15 hit here, go down to the 5, and the piece of the 5 that would break the move would be quite a bit lower. So then like you could ladder here, you could ladder there. You can't really ladder here. You also can't ladder there because that touched that. This you could say bounce there. This is going to be another hold, but if this is the hold, then the break has to be underneath that, right? So like, where do you start to break this move down? And that's really the question. So you have to have something above this that represents the ladder, but also breaks the move. It wouldn't really be this, right? Let's look on the 5 because that's exactly where we should be looking. So what I'd be looking for here, origin level right here, it doesn't hard close. Yep. This is the one I would be looking at right here. So you've kind of got a difference there between, you know, this 5-minute level up here, right? We can actually remove that because it's actually not yellow, so it shouldn't be yellow. So you got a 5-minute that holds the move. You've got more 5-minute levels down here. Holds the move, holds the move, holds the move. This is the one that breaks the move while still, yeah, let's do dash line. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. This is the 5-minute right here. Actually, I'm not even using the right color. Let's do that first. That's why I couldn't pick the right level. So let's use the right color. This breaks the move. I think it becomes very clear. Like you have all these ladder points on the 5, and if any one of them hold the move up, like you're good to go. You've got that there. You've got this here for +1, -1. You have got this here. That's untested completely. You've got this. Like there is actually quite a few levels here. So, you know, maybe later on in the day, I think that's where you can start with one of your first trades. And then you can kind of measure. And the nice thing about this trade is that it actually comes to this high here. So if you do decide to come back down and bounce this and hold the move, you would be very much looking to go over top of the move here, right? Like you'd very much be looking to go over top of that. So let's just delete this one. Let's delete this one. Let's delete this one. Those are not needed. You would then mark your secondary ladder point, which I think you would just use as here, 248, 229. I would just use this right here, just this backside 5-minute for the simple reason that it actually bounced this backside 5 here. So you bounce that backside 5 there. I think that's a safe trade. Obviously, if it bounces this, you're going to be targeting something much larger. You're going to be up in here. So that's kind of the first thing. Like if you hit this, you're at a nice little 1% trade. So that's the first thing we can kind of define. So this is a nice 100% here. Easy peasy. That should be a pretty easy 100%. If it holds this. If not, what I think you're doing is you're oopsies. We did not want to do that. What I think is what you're doing is if that 15-minute breaks, then what you're going to be looking for up here is probably the origin here. So then you've got a nice trade from there to there, 170. And I think you're going from the origin to this hold level to set up the next break of the move. So I think you do have a nice 170 here. I'll say 165 for front run purposes. I like 165. So I think you're starting to get into these bigger trades now. I think now that there's something you'll notice, like one of the patterns here you'll notice is that you started to have these smaller marks here because you really needed to create kind of your interior trends, your more breakout points to get to the higher parts of the range. You needed to create the ladder in this move because, before it's very somber profits, right? Like it's very much like this, catching this here, the best you could get is 120. And that's exactly where it goes. It goes 120% and nothing more. So that was like picture perfect. And then, now here you're starting to get past these trends and past the stuff that's in this move, right? Like now you've created, well, you'd have to walk through this, but first to here, oopsies, and then to here. You still got that trend, but we'd start high time frame down, so we only have a 15. So really, like you're here, right? You do hard close break to here, and you're kind of still there. I don't really know if you have any hard closes. You have a 1 minute, but that's just not enough. That's not gonna cut it for us. So you got a 15 here. It's not really a level that I trust. I don't really think it's a good part of the move. And yeah, I think once you break this trend in this, I think you're just kind of headed up here. So hopefully you get the rebuy here. It's also the 15 minute, which is nice. And if not, then you take it down here. But I think both are pretty decent. I almost wonder if you sit here and ladder this move, could you actually go from here all the way up? I wonder if you can make a 3% on this, or even to up in here at 2%. Like I wonder if 100 is too low. I think that's something I'd like to monitor if I was in the trade. So I would kind of put an asterisk behind this, couple asterisks, just to note that I'm not necessarily certain if we're just going to crawl for 100% here. So what would be the idea is that you hit this level here, you take your 100%. You can't drop to this level at that point. So I think to take 100% right now, the scenario looks like this. You instantly pull back right now, and then you use that to break up to here. And then this can pull back to hopefully, this trend here, hopefully deep dive that, and then you can go up to those higher ranges up here. Like that's the kind of scenario you hope for, so that you can take the 100% and then the minimum 165 and monitoring them. So I think those are some pretty compelling, straightforward spots. I do still like these two levels down here. I do still like this 520% level. I think it's really good. I think that can still hold up the move. You do have your interior trend, but that interior trend can always cycle. And you can always go to this trend down here, and that's perfectly fine. You've got two trends. That's fine. See which one gets hit. But what else do we have here? 165, 100. You start doing the short sides. I'll let you all do the sides where you're shorting, but I think this is just like a good follow through in terms of, let's look at the targets that we had marked out from the last session, see how they did. Our TA was obviously pretty damn accurate. We nailed this 120. I wouldn't say we nailed the 45. I would say we did very well with it, but I didn't say we nailed it, because nailing it would imply that there was no going underneath it. And I believe there was about 15 or 16 or 17% something. It was in and around here. But then that's fine. The 45% profits still get made. But obviously you don't nail it, because you could have made, we defined 45%. This actually goes all the way up to 90. So we missed half of the trade, but at least profits is profits. So that's okay. So I wouldn't say we nailed this one. I would say we did well on it, because it would be a positive outcome trade with decent profits. This one we absolutely nailed, 120%. It's like, it's literally a perfect 120%. No, maybe it's 119 or 121. That's how close it is. We're within 1% on either side of this trade. So depending if you deep dove it a little bit and got the perfect knife catch and exited early, just slightly early for 120, or whether you got the exact trade and took 118 or 19%, whatever this top right there is, 1% away on either side. So like that I would say we nailed that one. We did very well here. There was another trade in there for 100%, but that 100% was derived from this 120. So obviously you're not taking 100 on 120. If you just took the 100%, then you still made 100%. If you did take the actual level, either way, trade nailed. So perfect. And then 580 or 520 and 280 is not reached. So we actually did really good there. And now today we need to kind of follow through and continue that logic flow to continue making these decisions. I just want to say, if you took those two trades, 120 and 45%, making 165% on a day where Bitcoin is moving extremely slow, and that's with the consideration of taking no other scalps. Like I'm sure there's, a ladder from here to here with a nice scalp there. even if it's down to the, you know, kind of the stuff in here. I'm sure there's a lot more opportunity there, but as a minimum, just the trades we scoped out, yeah, there's another 40% here, or like even, you know, going further, the trades that we scoped out, 165% profits, no real misses. And that's a really good day for considering the charts and how slow they're moving. It's just in this like accumulation period, which is, it's going to be a lot of diminished expectations because of that. So yeah, and then today we're just doing the same thing, right? I think you got 165, like I said, on the bottom level. I think you've got 100 that could be monitored here, because I think if you hold this move, you ladder it and you monitor it, and you start to look as 100% is your kind of minimum take right here. Just gonna measure that one more time real quick, and that's that exact, like, you know, this backside stuff up here I think is really good. I think you do hit this, you do take your 1%, you pull back, and even if you take a rebuy like in here, I think it's fine. I think there's not a lot of scenarios where I would go beyond this as a first trade. Maybe I would monitor it in the moment and be like, okay, well, you know, this thing looks like it's moving up pretty fast. If it starts ripping out of its mind, maybe you set a stop loss like here or something, and take that 80%. So maybe you can sacrifice 20 up top to see if it keeps going. But at that point, like, I feel it's to sacrifice that 20%. Like I think like 9 times out of 10, you're going to pull back to at least here. I think you'd be more going down into something like this when you're pulling back. So if you are going to pull back all that, like, you know, even right here, that would be one. Right here would be another one that you could pull back to. Like, I think if you're going to pull back from this to this, even as a rebuy, like, you're giving up most of the trade anyway. So like at that point, why stay? So for that reason, I do like this to this, and then not like really looking at anything else. Maybe once it pulls back, you can find a target to stabilize against. But yeah, I think you got a nice little 100% here. I don't know if I would take this as a first trade. Yeah, you know what? I might. I probably would. I think it's pretty good. You got the 5 there, the 5 here, the 5 there. There's not a lot of loss you're going to take in this trade. All 3 spots are covered. Even the break of the move is covered within 7%. You're covering 1, the wick number 2, the body number 3, the origin number 4, and the laddering of the whole thing. You're kind of covering five key points by taking this 100. So I think that 100 is fine. I think you can take that. I just wouldn't fall in love with it. I'd more like to see this 165 tested. But yeah, you could backside ladder here, be a nice little buy spot. I think those are pretty decent. And then everybody else can do their work on the top side, you know, to find that.